Most people read Romans 8:28 like God is saying, relax, everything will turn out the way you want. But that is not what this verse means. In fact, if you read it that way, you will misunderstand both suffering and the purpose of God. This verse is not promising you a comfortable life. It is revealing a sovereign God. And we know that all things work together for good to them that love God, to them who are the called according to his purpose. Romans 8:28. Most people think this means everything will eventually feel good, look good, and go their way. That your problems will turn into visible success, your pain will turn into immediate happiness, and your losses will somehow reverse into wins you can clearly see. That idea became popular because people want relief. They want a version of faith that guarantees outcomes they recognize as good. But that is not what Paul is saying. To understand this verse, you have to start with how it begins. And we know. This is not wishful thinking. This is not positive mindset language. This is certainty. Paul is saying there is something believers can know with confidence, even when life does not make sense. Then he says, all things work together for good. Notice he does not say, all things are good. That matters. Evil is still evil. Pain is still pain. Betrayal is still betrayal. God is not calling every event good. He is saying he can take everything, good and bad, and work it together toward a good result. That means the good is not always found in the event itself, but in what God is doing through it. Now here is where most people completely miss the verse. Paul limits this promise. He says it is for them that love God, and them who are the called according to his purpose. This is not a universal promise for everyone. It is for those who belong to God and are being shaped by his purpose. And that raises a critical question. What is that purpose? Paul answers it immediately in the next verse. For whom he did foreknow, he also did predestinate to be conformed to the image of his Son. Romans 8:29. That is the good, not comfort, not success, not everything going your way. The good is that God is shaping you to become like Christ. That changes everything, because now suffering has a purpose. Delay has a purpose. Even confusion has a purpose. God is not just trying to improve your circumstances. He is transforming your character. And when you look at the surrounding passage, this becomes even clearer. For I reckon that the sufferings of this present time are not worthy to be compared with the glory which shall be revealed in us. Romans 8:18. Paul is talking about suffering, not comfort. He is not writing to people living easy lives. He is writing to people in pain, and he is telling them that their present suffering is not pointless. It is part of something greater that will lead to future glory. He goes even further. For we know that the whole creation groaneth and travaileth in pain together until now. Romans 8:22. And not only they, but ourselves also. Even we ourselves groan within ourselves. Romans 8:23. Christians still groan. They still struggle. They still feel the weight of life. So Romans 8:28 cannot mean everything is always going smoothly. It means even in the groaning, God is still working. Then Paul says something most people overlook. Likewise the Spirit also helpeth our infirmities, for we know not what we should pray for as we ought. Romans 8:26. There are moments when believers do not even know how to pray. That is how weak we can be. That is the context of Romans 8:28. Weakness, not control. Dependence, not perfection. Now this truth is not new. You see it clearly in the life of Joseph. But as for you, ye thought evil against me, but God meant it unto good. Genesis 50:20. Joseph does not call what happened to him good. He calls it evil, but he also recognizes that God used that evil to bring about a greater purpose. That is exactly what Romans 8:28 is teaching. God does not approve evil, but he is not defeated by it either. James reinforces this idea. My brethren, count it all joy when you fall into divers temptations, knowing this, that the trying of your faith worketh patience. James 1, 2, and 3. The trial itself is not joyful, but it produces something: endurance, strength, stability. That is part of the good God is working through difficult seasons. And the clearest example of this principle is the cross itself. Him being delivered by the determinate counsel and foreknowledge of God, ye have taken, and by wicked hands have crucified and slain. Acts 2:23. The crucifixion was the worst evil in human history, yet God used it to accomplish the greatest good: salvation. If God can take the darkest event in history and turn it into redemption, then Romans 8:28 is not just a comforting idea, it is proven truth. So here's the real meaning of this verse. For those who truly love God and are called according to his purpose, nothing in their life is wasted. Not the pain, not the delay, not the failure, not even the seasons where nothing makes sense. God is actively working through all of it to shape them into the image of Christ and bring them into future glory. That means the good is not always something you can see right now. It is something God is building over time. And this verse should not be used as a quick response to someone's pain. It is not saying, don't worry, this will turn into something nice soon. It is saying something much deeper. It is saying that even in your worst moment, God has not lost control. Even when you do not understand, he is still working. Even when you feel weak, he is still shaping you. And one day you will see that none of it was wasted. If this helped you understand Romans 8:28 the way it was meant to be understood, subscribe to this channel and keep going deeper. Because the more you understand Scripture correctly, the stronger your faith becomes.